Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are back. We are live. And after the release of my latest video talking about Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz, I just want to change the white balance on my camera, talking about Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz, I thought I would take the opportunity to listen to the album. There's a link in the description where you can check the album out on Spotify. Because when I did one of these videos where I listened to Ordinary Man and talked about it while it was happening, pointed out things I liked, pointed out things that I didn't like, I thought that was quite a throwaway video. I didn't think anybody would enjoy that. I didn't think that would be up anybody's street. And it was really popular. Evidently, people really liked it. I've been very vocal on the subject of reaction videos, and I hate the concept of a reaction video because to me, when people do your typical reaction video, they're usually using someone else's content, literally using their content. They are playing the content to you and then watching it. And to me, it very much feels like they're not adding anything to proceedings whatsoever. They're literally just trying to monetize someone else's content. So while I will be playing Blizzard of Oz during this, it's going to be in my headphones. You won't hear it. But like I say, there is a link in the description so you can check the album out on Spotify. And I'm going to talk for a little bit, engage with you guys in the comment section beforehand, maybe give it 10 minutes, and then give you time to set it up. And then we can all hit play together. And we can listen to it. And you can get my thoughts on the record, and I can talk to you about why I love it so much, because I genuinely do love this album. So if you did miss my latest video, do go and check it out. It's a good almost 40 minutes talking about Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz, the history, everything that went with the album, why the album came about, how it came about, the story of it, the story of Ozzy at the time, Randy Rhoads, the rest of the band members that were involved, the legal issues surrounding the album. It's a great story, part of rock and roll's development, and big fan of the record, so I would encourage you to check it out. Also, of course, there were some contributions in the video. It was awesome to get some input from Troy Grady. So Troy Grady sent me, I asked for like a minute or two long clip from a couple of guys, just giving their thoughts. And Troy sent me his video last night, and he was like, dude, I'm really sorry, it's like 4 minutes long, but cut whatever you want. And I was like, I'll check it out, man, but I'm sure it'll be fine. So I listened to it, I watched this video, and I emailed him back. I was like, dude, you've managed to do in 4 minutes what I'm going to take about 35 minutes to do. How are you so good at what you do? So, of course, Troy Grady appears in the video. Head on over to his channel. Check out Troy Grady. He is one of the greats of technique education, very entertaining, very, very knowledgeable. So, big fan of Troy Grady and all of his work, cracking the code, of course. Jack Gardner is also featured in the video. Good friend of mine, Jack Gardner. We will be appearing at the London Guitar Summit in November, so looking forward to that. Jack played the Crazy Train solo for me. I made the backing track and everything, and I sent that over to him. And he was like, I'm on tour at the moment, but I'm back on Monday, and I'll knock that out for you, and we'll see how it goes. And I just said one thing, which was, cool, can you make sure you double track it like Randy did? And he was like, did Randy double? Oh, I never noticed that he double tracked that solo. I said, yeah, man, and it really gives it that sound. So, and then Jack sends over the solo. It's just wonderful rendition. It's not exactly how Randy played it, of course, but he plays it like Jack Gardner, and that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted that modern take on it. And Jack talks about it. Chris Fina also appears in the video talking about the record and why it was an inspiration to him growing up. Now, for those of you unfamiliar with Chris Fina's work, I mean, he's a ridiculously talented guitar player, but also a very funny guitar player. Chris has uploaded a fair amount of, comedy meme type videos, musical meme type videos. And I knew he was influenced by Randy, so I took that as an opportunity to do something with Chris. And my good friend David DeAndrade, was the singer for Hellcat Molly. He's the guy providing the voice of Tony Iommi in the video. How's it going, Chris? And -7 Sharp 5, good to see you online. Let me get this posted up in my Patreon group. Copy video URL. I don't know why I copied video URL. This will be fun. Should probably go through and just triple check all the audio settings to make sure there's no conflicts in this. So you're getting that audio. Yeah, everything should be fine. Right, yeah. So, like I say, I'm going to hold off for a little bit. I'll say it again for anybody that has just tuned in. There is a link in the description. If you could click that and head on over to Spotify and queue up Blizzard of Oz on Spotify, we will all hit play together. And, life finds a way. we'll all hit play together and talk about the album. So it should be a lot of fun. Should be a lot of fun. But how's everybody doing? What's going on in your lives? I was also waiting for a submission for that video from Rick Beato, but we didn't hit a deadline. Unfortunately, it took me a long time to write it, but to get everything done. But yeah. Blizzard of Oz is framed on Chris's wall. I'm having a bit of a rant at someone on Facebook at the moment who just dropped just a monumentally ignorant. I'm all for not liking a musician. That's fine. There are many musicians out there that I don't like. I don't like what they do. Okay, genuinely don't like the things that they do. I don't like their music. I don't like who they are. But someone said, I love Zach, but I can't forgive him for wasting pride and glory in order to become, and here's a quote, a military, conservative, KKK, bigot, metal maniac. Imagine being that fucking ignorant. Zach's definitely, there's no commas, no fucking punctuation, so it's hard to follow what's really being said here. Zach is obviously very pro-military, but I'm sure he's trying to say military conservative. I don't know Zach's political views. He's not overly spoken on those. But to describe someone as a KKK bigot, fucking hell. How can someone be that fucking ignorant? I just don't understand. It makes no sense. What is this? Oh, cool. Oh, the Michael Jackson wrestling video. Very cool. So, right, who is online? We've got Craig online, Craig Merriman. Now, Craig, you will see Craig has a little badge next to his name. His badge appears because he is one of my VIP supporters here on YouTube. You can go down into that section just below where my video is, and there's a button that says join. You can support me. That's a great way to support the channel. And I should probably do that usual thing, shouldn't I? Big thank you to my supporters over on Patreon. You keep these videos coming in, seeing some of you guys online, so thank you very much for your love, kindness, support and generosity. Link to Patreon is in the description, and if that doesn't appeal, you can head on over to Amazon and grab one of my books. I should probably put the latest one in there now. I'll just do it like this. 100 slide licks for blues guitar. Which is actually fitting, because what I didn't notice when I grew up listening to this Blizzard of Oz album, the Ozzy album, there's a slide guitar solo on this, and I never noticed this. Absolutely never noticed this when I was younger. So, yeah. Never listened to an Ozzy album in full, except Sabbath's Live at Last. Well, David, now's your opportunity. Now is your opportunity. So again, link in the description. Head on over to Chris. You're not a Patreon. You're on Patreon, right? Annoyingly, one of the perks of being a YouTube VIP is that you get that badge. But you're a Patreon supporter, so you're even cooler. You've got more than a badge. You've got a little wrench next to your name. No one likes Gary Glitter. I know. I really wish. It genuinely annoys me because, generally speaking, the service that Patreon offer you as supporters of my work is considerably better than the YouTube thing. It's a lot easier for me to provide you with links and downloads and things like that. I can upload files to Patreon, etc., etc. You can't do that on YouTube, but for many reasons, people don't want to use and support Patreon as a platform. So, I offered the YouTube thing when YouTube offered it, and I appreciate Craig and the guys that I have supported me over on YouTube as well. So, right, I'll give it another 30 seconds, then I'm going to queue up this album, and I am going to start listening to it. So, yeah, get on it. Link in the description. Head on over to Spotify. Well, it doesn't need to be anywhere. You could be anywhere you like. Hello, Benjamin. How's it going? Yeah, head on over to Spotify, queue up Blizzard of Oz. Is the expanded edition that I have, which fortunately is the original recordings, which has the original Bob Daisley bass and Lee Kerslake on drums, rather than the changed version of the recording. What do I think of Plinia Polyphia? I like both bands. Yeah, interesting, beautiful. I don't know if I'd say not very soulful. It's just a different concept of what soulful is. You know what I mean? Things just change as music develops. I can't listen to them for massively extended periods of time, but I do like what they're doing. So yeah. And I've seen Pliny live, I think, twice. Yeah. Did someone ever tell you how much you look like Derek Trucks when you still had a ponytail? Yes, when I was younger, I didn't like Derek Trucks because people kept saying you look like Derek Trucks. Good evening, Richard. I am doing well, mate. I'm doing well. Right, I'm going to hit play on this album. So just so you know, so we're all on the same page, it looks like this. Cool. I am going to hit I don't know, and I'm going to hit play on this. I'm going to give you a countdown for anyone that plans to listen along, for anyone watching this after the stream goes live. You have a countdown. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. Oh yeah, it's definitely not something you do on your phone, David. So that intro, like, you've got that wonderful combination of Randy's tone, which is different, and Bob Daisley's bass melody that he plays. And the other thing that's really classic about Ozzy's vocals is that he double tracks all of his vocals, so it gives them that kind of thickness to them. It was very cool. Nothing complicated going on in the bass and drums, right? And that guitar tone is very, like I say, very unique, very unique. Bass melodies, rock bass playing, beautiful. It's just no low end on that guitar whatsoever. Double picking, digga 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 digga, love it. Very dry delay there. Lead guitar fill now, yeah. Feels like there's no low end in my headphones, to be honest. I'm just going to make a tweak in my... That's better. I'm using SonarWorks and it's calibrated for my speakers, not my headphones. Reminds me of that, the Van Halen Running with the Devil bass line. It's just repeating quarter notes. And the guitars and the bass, they're doing different things, and I like that. Adds a layer of depth to the music. When I was composing music as a youngster, that wasn't what you did. The bass guitar just copied the guitar. And these layered guitars that Randy did they're beautiful. Arpeggiated in my right ear. Counter melody on the left. Harmonics over the top. Nice. He clearly had all these musical ideas that he wanted to go with. Because, it was well documented that he didn't like Black Sabbath. He didn't want to be Black Sabbath. And this shows you that. He had all these musical ideas in his head that he just wanted to get out. And let's not pretend that Ozzy wrote any of this, yeah. And you get the classic Ozzy, gow, gow, gow. Still double track guitar solo, yeah. Yeah. Centre track, though, by the sounds of things. Whammy bar, so it's the Carl Sandoval, yeah. I love those things he does where he takes like a pentatonic pattern and moves it down fret at a time. Honestly, Bob Daisley just... People listen to this album, they think Randy Rhoads, Randy Rhoads, Randy Rhoads. But Bob Daisley added so much to this. He really did. Nothing really happened vocally on the song, right, of course. Could have had vocal harmonies on some of this, but no. I know I got left behind, no, not. Copyright strike, there we go. Everyone goes through changes, looking to find the truth. Stick a vocal harmony on there, why not? Even on that, don't ask me, I don't. Yeah. So maybe a little bit dry on the vocals on that one. But Crazy Train, here we go. Starting in 3, 2, 1, boom. Classic, right? Just drums and bass. And then, of course, in the intro here, you have some percussion, right? You have that's a vibra slap. And it pans from left to right. So, I Don't Know is very much a rock track. This has a little bit more of that metal flavour to it. As Troy mentioned in my video, which if you haven't watched, you should watch, it's classic Aeolian harmony there, but then switch into A major for this. Same thing, doubled vocals, classic Ozzy. I felt that's where Ordinary Man went wrong, because you can't double track someone's vocals and pitch correct them. Yeah, so tremolo bar, so it's the Carl Sandoval. Off the rails on a crazy train. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. You need that vocal. That vocal harmony makes it, right? The vocal harmony is beautiful. Let's go. Playful. The drums are there on the hi-hats. It's bubbly, it's bouncy. I like it. And when you really listen to Randy's guitar parts, you can hear the full major chords for these. Panned left and right, and there's a variance between the two of them, which again gives it more that rock and roll sound rather than a tight metal sound. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. That fill is nuts. The rails on a crazy train. Ozzy's vocal harmonies are classic. Iconic. So heading into this guitar solo, I'm learning this as a kid was just... I wanted to do a video of it myself, but I don't own a tremolo guitar. Yeah, one bar. Melody though. Ba, 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 Hello, Timothy. Whammy bar on that. Double tracked, but unlike the I Don't Know solo, these are panned left and right. Love it, love it. So ahead of his time. And a thing I learned when transcribing this song that I did on my stream a month ago or so, Randy doesn't, on the riff when he gets to the open A chord, he doesn't play the 3rd fret on the low E and bend it up a semitone. He really does play the 4th fret on the low E string. He plays that G sharp. Da da ba da 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 ba da. Okay, he bent that one. True minor 7 sharp 5. I think we could all be more objective listeners. Cool harmonics. I'm going off the rails on a crazy train. That fill, left and right, sliding up. My entire job, minor 7 sharp 5, I often laugh about the fact that people have essentially paid me to train my ears. Okay, moving on to Goodbye to Romance. I didn't like this song growing up. I love it now. I've got so much more appreciation for it. Rich 7th chords, just... And the layered guitars harmonizing each other in left and right. Oh, yeah. This song, if you ever need to know what a major 7 chord sounds like, you listen to this song. What's the harmony? Romance. My difference. Music is a genuinely beautiful thing, because listening to this, like I'm picturing Ozzy 40 years ago. I'm trying to put myself in his shoes, and yeah, amazing that this is a snapshot of time. This is a snapshot of something that happened 40 years ago. Still the doubled vocal. So Chris Smart made a comment earlier on the YouTube video, no, Facebook, sorry, saying that he thinks the guitar solo on this outshines the song. And it is a great solo, but let's not pretend the song isn't a great song. It's a good song. Just not very metal, you know? You are the best. I guess that we'll meet in the end. It's a really nice bridge as well, isn't it? Yeah. There's a lot of layering. This was supposed to be the lead single for the album. Hello, Upside Down. Romance. And now heading into this solo. This is such a good solo. I might do a video of this. Double tracked, of course. Nice. Honestly, there's so much to be learned from Ozzy's vocal harmonies. Beautiful. Trademark. Tracks like this make you realise how silly it is when people do the, Randy versus Eddie, because they were totally different guitar players. They really were. Eddie couldn't double track a solo. He was all about flair. It was all about slaying on a solo, just capturing that energy and excitement. Whereas every one of Randy's solos felt like a composition. Again, yeah. Goodbye to romance. Higher. Goodbye to friends. Upside down. I'd love more YouTube members, but it's not a popular option. But that's okay. Keyboard. I'm surprised there's not more keyboard on this song, to be honest. Da 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 da. And then on to D in 20 seconds. So of course D, named after Dolores Rhoads, Randy's mother. This was his tribute to her, and obviously this would go on to be Randy's or the world's tribute to Randy. Not all that difficult to learn. I would recommend you can learn this in half an hour. I'd give it a go. It's nice. Nice little showcase. Certainly not, as far as classical guitar pieces go, it's not a challenging piece. Double tracking it. So they harmonise each other there. Harmonics. They harmonise each other on the ascent there. I actually think that when I played that in my school assembly, I played it twice because people thought it was so odd that I played for like a minute. Wine it's fine, but whiskey's quicker. Suicide. Sorry, slow with liquor. Take a bottle, drown your sorrows. I never really loved this song. I didn't ever think this was a great song. It's definitely, a rocker. Of course, this is the one that on the tribute album where Randy would have his live guitar solo. So maybe it's because of the nasal nature of Ozzy's voice on this. He's very whiny on this. Such a shame, who's to blame, and you're wondering why. Oh, no. Any eyes from your cask is their life after birth. What your soul can bring hell on this earth. Cool bass line though, right? It's very similar to Believer, the song Believer on Diary of a Madman. You can hear keyboards in the background of this one a little bit more. Yeah, those keyboards are actually adding quite a lot to the song. The bass is doing a lot of the work there. Where it's out. I think for me, like growing up, the reason this song didn't grab me is because it never felt like it had a chorus. It felt like it was about a riff rather than, a big chorus. Yeah, I talked about this in my video, Vincent, about this being a lawsuit song. I can't remember if it was Ozzy or if it was Judas Priest. There was certainly someone that stood up in court, and their defense was it would be a very poor business decision to be trying to convince our fans to kill themselves. See, I was literally just about to say, no tremolo on this one, but there you go. So I Don't Know was clearly the Carl Sandoval. Crazy Train was the Sandoval. This one, I kind of feel that this is Les Paul, but he's overdubbed with the tremolo. Yeah, it genuinely just never feels like this song does anything. It feels like a jam more than a song to me. This particular one, yeah. Even the guitar solo is just like a jam. Apparently, we needed a shit ton more reverb for this solo, though. Oh damn! Fuck dear, man. That was a great story. There's your Sandoval, the Flying V. I'll inevitably have people talk about the Jackson Randy Rhoads V on that video. I don't think there's a chance in hell he had that in time to record this album. No way. It's definitely on Diary, but not on this. You know what I mean? Like, there's not even really a solo on it. It just sort of, it's ambience, it's noise, it's atmosphere. So yeah, honestly, not a fan of Suicide Solution. Not a fan. Ah, there we go. Don Airey's massive keyboard part. And of course, he doesn't have any writing credit on this song. Now, let's not pretend for a second that he didn't write this. Don Airey wrote this on keyboards. This will have been written after the song was done. If memory serves me correctly, you can hear the band sort of counting in with the drumsticks, Lee Kerslake on drums. And then after the fact, this was sort of like, we need something for the start of the song, and Don Airey recorded this. I'm sure I read a quote about Ozzy saying something along the lines of, "Man, it's like you went inside my head and took it straight out of my head." I don't do a Brummy accent. That's why I had David do it on the video. Huge pan. Yeah, okay. So I can hear those keyboards in there when I really listen for them, but I wish they were louder. There's that live video of them in studio playing this. It's got Rudy Sarzo and Tommy Aldrich on bass and drums. That's a real mess. They don't sound good in that. Tempo's all over the place. And it's a shame because that's one of the only real good examples of Randy playing. One of good video examples. Nice. The song feels empty now I've listened to that keyboard part in isolation. I'm like, that would just add so much to this song. I'll say the next bit after this solo because, of course, classic solo. That sounds single-tracked. I think that's single-tracked. Whammy bar, yeah. So there's the flying V. Mr. Crowley, Alistair Crowley. By all accounts, that's not how his name was pronounced. It was Crowley, Alistair Crowley. Lots of discussion on what that line means. Mr. Crowley, won't you ride my white horse? Mr. Crowley, it's symbolic, of course. I think we'd say it's about heroin, though, because Crowley was a big heroin user. So a white horse is opium. Such a melodic guitar part, and not the harmonies right and left. They're not playing your typical Iron Maiden in thirds harmony type thing. They're playing separate melodies of their own, which share a contour, if you like. Was it polemically said? And of course, the story behind this is Alistair Crowley would sign his books "Polemically Yours, Alistair Crowley," and Ozzy got his hands on one from Jimmy Page. I tapped that as a kid. Those trills are interesting because he's not actually outlining the D minor chord when he does that. He's actually outlining an A7. I don't have the stamina in my fingers to get those trills right. And when you listen to me playing the solo on the video that I put up, my trills aren't where you'd want them to be. I'm a little bit slow on some of them. And that lick with the descending, he plays a 3-note per string pattern and literally just tremolo picks it and moves it down the strings chromatically. Very cool. That solo goes on a lot longer on the tribute album, so you get to hear Randy play a little bit more on that one. No Bone Movies. So this is one that features a slide guitar solo. Starting in now. 1, 2, 3, 4. I mean, this isn't a rock song. You listen to that. This is blues. Sorry, this isn't a metal song. This is a blues rock song. Me and my wife always sing "No More Boobies." No more boobies. Solo tracked vocal, but with reverb on it. Allegedly the lyrics written by Bob Daisley when Ozzy took everybody to see a porn film on the silver screen, on the, like one of those adult theatres, and Randy described it as a bone movie, describes porn films as bone movies, a bone film, and that they thought they were in pretty poor taste. So, in love with his hand. A pulsating gland is that, yeah. No bone movies. No bone movies. Stick a harmony on it, Ozzy, why not? Definitely a blues rock song. Slide guitar, listen to it, slide guitar. Slide guitar. Yeah, I even saw on one of the Randy Rhoads Facebook groups when they posted some video footage of Randy playing slide, they were like, "Oh, I had no idea that Randy could play slide. He fucking plays slide on the fucking Blizzard of Oz album." It's probably the first example of slide guitar I ever would have heard. Apart from maybe Freebird, Certainly the first example of slide guitar that I would have listened to, bought on a record and listened to over and over without really paying much attention to it. Is he still playing slide there? Yeah. Sup, Connor? No more boobies! No more boobies! Obviously nothing neoclassical about this. This is the only song on the album that Lee Kerslake, actually the drummer, has writing credit on. Just rock song. Just rock and roll. Just straight rock and roll. Right, we're heading into my favourite song on the album, Revelation Mother Earth. We've only got 2 more songs. I will listen to You Looking at Me, Looking at You, though, because I love that song. It was a B-side from one of the singles. So just immediately when Revelation Mother Earth kicks on, you've got this... I always describe it as Russian. It's got like a Eastern European... There's something... Multiple layers of guitars there, though. Harmonics over the top. Lovely. So it seems anytime Ozzy isn't doubling his vocals, we just add loads of reverb onto them. That melody, da 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 da, that's like double harmonic minor or Hungarian. The Greta Thunberg song of 1980. And a more, strong major. Father of all creation, I think we're all going wrong. That chord change is beautiful. With a bell sounds over the top. It just instantly gives it that epic sound, doesn't it? Of the future, watching empires fall. That's to me the one hint of Sabbath on this album. Self-destruction at all. Oh. And then you get those heavy bits. Down, down. Fifths in the bottom of all the chords. And it doesn't go somewhere at that point. We go back to the verse. Some might say that vocal bit over the top there is a bit over the top. I would totally agree with you, Richard. The piano solo part, as in that the instrumental interlude, is beautiful. The descending arpeggios, lovely. There's no one winning. We must fight all the hate. Oh, those are major chords, actually, aren't they? And then you get this riff, which you didn't get before, and it's a cool riff. Then you go into this instrumental interlude, and it's loud bell. And as Richard says, the piano in this is just absolutely lovely. Lendada13, thank you very much. Now, I assume this is a remixed or remastered version because I don't... This piano is a lot louder than I remember it. But it's still nice. both piano but also like the synthesizer bit in the back. Building that piano, ascending. Still not there enough though. We keep building. This is so led by the piano, isn't it? Epic, hugely epic. And then we build and we build and then we go back. There's definitely something wrong with that mix. The piano is definitely louder than it should be in this particular mix. He's got his phaser on there. And then we get something that we haven't heard yet on this track, which is tempo change. Whoops. Those trills, love them. This whole solo is just... double track left and right. Thickens it up. This is prog rock, right? There's no hiding from that. Very prog rock. We sort of build into the climax of the song. So is that Les Paul? Not hearing anything tremolo-y. Track change into Steal Away. That's a buzzsaw guitar tone, that. And again, this riff is just not metal, it's rock. It's a blues rock tune. Those bass parts, oh, beautiful. Fucking love it. This is a classic, like, 3-piece rock band. Steal away, steal away, steal away with the night. You need the vocal harmony. That vocal harmony is just... Ah, Bob Daisley, you absolute diamond. Masterclass in what bass guitar playing should be on a rock album. So I assume many of us are in agreement, you know, this isn't a metal album, this is a rock album. This is totally a weird mix of the album and I don't like it. That vocal harmony was too loud. Super phaser, right? I didn't talk about Randy's effects. He was a big MXR guy. Double tracked? Maybe triple tracked? Yeah. Adding in double tracking for the odd notes here and there. I love the chorus in this song, Richard. That vocal harmony, just it's so it's like a punch. Bass guitar, there we go. Whammy bar, flying V. So vocal harmony. That doesn't even sound like Ozzy on the vocal harmony there. Maybe. Okay, so it's going to go into the song You Looking at Me, Looking at You. This was on the CD release that I had years ago, like the special expanded version. This is a great song, and it totally should have been on the album. I think that You Looking at Me, Looking at You is actually better than the song No Bone Movies. I would have dropped No Bone Movies and put this on. It's very hard to find who recorded this, though. And listening to it now, I don't think that's Bob Daisley on bass. It's a totally different bass tone. More drive on it than you'd expect. Looking at you, I wanna turn to you. Love it. This reminds me of being 13. Cowbell, needs cowbell, because you have cowbell on metal albums, right? Vance, yeah, I'd probably be up for doing a Diary of a Madman listen as well. Or do you mean one of my a metal school on Diary of a Madman? Oh, you beautiful bastard, Randy. There was a cool moment where they were in harmony with each other there. Double tracked, but a harmony. I really want to find out who played bass on this. Because this could have been Sarzo. Just doesn't sound like Bob Daisley on bass. It really doesn't. Let's have a look. So it says much of the album was written by Randy Rhoads, Bob Daisley, and Ozzy's at Ozzy's live-in rehearsal facility in Monmouth, Wales, with a friend of Osbourne's named Barry Screenage performing as the group's drummer. Screenage was never considered as a candidate to be the group's permanent drummer, and he was not involved in the songwriting process at all. It then says the band recorded demos of the songs I Don't Know, Crazy Train, Goodbye to Romance, and You Looking at Me, Looking at You in early 1980 with ex-Lone Star drummer Dixie Lee. So they'd hoped that Lee would be a permanent member, but he wasn't the final piece of the puzzle, Daisley recalls. So that would imply that it was Bob Daisley on this particular recording. There's just something about it that just doesn't sound... Well, I guess it was a different recording session, which could have impacted how the bass guitar was recorded. Honestly, Vance, I know what you mean. Like, I've listened to this album hundreds of times in my life, hundreds of times, but it feels like the first time I'm ever hearing it because I'm really listening to it right now. It's fading out. There's a Goodbye to Romance 2010 guitar and vocal mix. So fun fact for you. I've never actually listened to the version of this album that has the guitars and the bass replaced on it. So I'm just going to check one of those out now and see how I feel about it. Because evidently I like to punish myself. Let's have a look. So what? Oh, it's the behind the scenes video. So what song would I really? What song do I know inside and out? Which one of these have I listened to the most? Let's try Revelation. No. It's not on. Have these versions been wiped from the internet? It was the 2002 version of the album, wasn't it? Yeah, 2002 reissue. Blizzard of Oz reissue. You see, I can't find any. Okay, so this is it says Crazy Train 2002 version, but I think this is the Osbourne's. Oh no, okay. Okay. The bass is definitely a lot more aggressive. There's a comment on this video of someone saying, I heard Sharon is releasing a 2020 version with Slash on guitar, thus deleting Randy's licks. The bass is definitely a lot more aggressive. I'm listening for that drum fill that I talk about in the video that I did. I mean, if that's it, it's not as offensive as I had imagined. Well, it's not as offensive as I thought it could be. But it's still offensive. It's offensive in concept, isn't it? Fucking replacing the original recordings, replacing people that played on the original legacy version of your album so you wouldn't have to pay them any money. Oh, Sharon Osbourne, you've done some amazing things in well, I was going to say in my life, but for music, because you brought Ozzy back from the brink. But things like that make me think, what a monumental fucking cockbag. Terrible, terrible, terrible petty woman. And as I said in my main video, I don't believe for a second that Ozzy had anything to do with that. But maybe that's just me giving him the benefit of the doubt. So there we have it, guys. That is me doing a listening party of Blizzard of Oz. And I hope you got some enjoyment out of that. I got some enjoyment out of that. Like I said, when responding to Vance there, I very much feel like I was hearing the album there for the first time. And that was really fun. It was really, really fun. So thank you for sharing that with me. And yeah, I'm up for doing other versions, other ones of these in future. It all depends on what people think of them. If people don't like the concept, then I'm fine to not do them. But you know, if some people enjoy these, then I'm more than happy to do one every week or every couple of weeks. Who knows? Yeah, Richard Bell pointed out that was Daisley on that recording. I think now, the more I think about it, because it was an actual separate recording session, a pre-Blizzard of Oz recording session with a different drummer, that it makes sense that the recordings that the bass guitar tone would be so dramatically different. Thank you very much for your support, Connor. It is always appreciated. And on the note of money, if you did enjoy this, oh, awesome, it's $5 Australian. That's like £1. I kid. Connor, fucking hurry up and come home, man. Thank you very much to my supporters over on Patreon. If you would like to be like one of my supporters over on Patreon, there is a link in the description. You can support me over there for as little as $1 a month, and that gets you access to my private Patreon only, well, it's actually a supporter only Facebook group. We can talk about all things music. So if you want to be like those guys, check out that link in the description. You can also get access to that group by clicking the join button underneath this video. If you click the join button, again, you can join the channel as a VIP member, and you'll get a little badge next to your name, like Upside Down has. because he's one of my VIP supporters. So thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You rock. You guys are awesome. And if you don't want to support me like that, then maybe consider checking out one of my books. There's no mention of Randy Rhoads in absolutely any of these. So seems like a bit of a soulless plug, but this is how I feed my family. So if you would like to pick one up, please do consider heading on over to Amazon, looking for Levi Clay, and maybe grabbing a copy of 100 Slide Licks for Blues Guitar. And I should also say, Wolverine, that's my that's my YouTube VIP thing. That's the lowest price I can do on the YouTube VIP thing. But on my Patreon page, the lowest level of support is $1. So you can support me for $1. Anyway, as I was saying, if you have got one of my books, in particular the latest one, could you please take 5 seconds to head on over to Amazon and drop it a wee review? It is a great way to support me because, the more reviews something has, the higher it fits in Amazon's rankings when people are looking for things. So, right, I'm going to hang about for a few more minutes and see if any last questions come in, any last comments, suggestions, concerns, thoughts and ideas. And, I'll answer them. If not, I'm going to go and walk my dogs in the snow because it's Scotland and it's snowing, obviously. So Upside Down has posted a link to Patreon, Wolverine, where if you join up there, you have the option to support for $1. Yes. Oh, I lied, Connor. The chat revenue says that $5 Australian is £2.50. So evidently the Australian dollar is falling even more than the pound. Actually, you know what I want to do? I just want to listen to this. Here we go. I'm just going to listen to this. Where are you guys? I did watch the Chapper's apology video, Connor. I will talk about it, but obviously I don't want to mar this video with that. I'll talk about that on the Guitar Souls podcast. We'll be recording soon. So I just want to quickly give this a listen, because you know what? I haven't heard this since this was on TV. When I was younger, when I was in maybe high school, the Osbournes, the TV show, was all the rage. It was all anyone was talking about. And I didn't have Sky TV, so I had no way to access this. So I certainly couldn't follow along. But every now and again, I'd catch an episode if I was at a friend's house, and I didn't really see the appeal. But I remember the intro song to this, and I was like, that sounds really familiar. And we know why. So is there a vibroslap? Trombones instead. Not quite the same. Choo choo. Why did this need to be a thing? It's a nice arrangement, but okay, so double time. Maybe what I should do is watch the Osbournes. I've never done that. I'm not going to do it on this stream, obviously. I'm going to check how much that is on Amazon Prime Video. And make their own rules. Don't tell me the Osbournes isn't on Amazon Prime Video. Not the free stuff. Like, I can't even buy it. That's a shame. Upside Down. This is Crazy Train, Pat Boone. I like the you know, the double time. Dun 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 bum 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 bum. So what happens with the solo? Here we go. I'm going to stop that there. No, thank you. Misses the point, doesn't it? Right, one last comment here. Remember watching that shit on MTV thinking, how can these kids be so dumb, and these other kids from his other wife are nothing like them? Yeah. Also, you know, Amy was a Sharon and an Aussie kid, right? And she didn't want to be featured on the show. I just think that Kelly and Jack were of that age where the idea of being on a TV show sounded like a cool thing to do, and I think they probably played into that and use that to sort of make their career. Use that to make to forge or form a career, if you like. And much respect to them for playing the game, if you like. Whereas Amy didn't want to be involved, and of course Ozzy does have three other children. He has an adopted child from his previous marriage that obviously have chose not to play into Ozzy and who he is. Which, yeah, fair enough. Anyway, no background on here. Yeah, I probably should have prepared everyone for that. I just, wouldn't recommend listening to it if I'm completely honest. Anyway, thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Had a great time. Hopefully you enjoyed yourselves. And if not, well, send me a request and I will refund you for your ticket. Apparently that's a thing. Anyway, much love and I'll see you for another stream.